Lesson 66. My happiness and my function are one. This is a really long lesson, but it reads quite easily. And if it seems to you that the past several lessons, starting with 61, have been essentially the same, that's because they have been. I started feeling that I was saying the same thing over and over again, and that's because I have been. So, let me do the shorter periods first. We're simply told to use today's idea twice an hour, if possible, because that would be our greatest experience of it, and that this lesson is a giant stride towards the perception of the same as the same. In other words, the truth is true. The Course uses that phrase many times. Only the truth is true. And the truth is that we are all the same one. It's not only that we all share the same feelings in our hearts, although we do. Ultimately, it's that there is no you and me. We are a oneness of one, streaming out of God's mind, which is a formless mind. And we practice the essence of that here in the classroom of the world, using the reflection of God's loving light to stream through the way we saw before and shift our perception into something as close to truth as we can get in this world, which the Course would call the real world, or right-mindedness as opposed to wrong-mindedness. God's mind would be one-mindedness. That's a bit of the metaphysics language that's used. So, let's do our 15-minute practice together, and don't pressure yourself about the twice an hour. You know, that would be the best. Let's see. And it is possible, because it only takes less than a minute to repeat these words slowly and think about them a little while you say, my happiness and my function are one, because God has given me both. We're thinking about how we might think happiness and function or purpose are two different things. And Jesus is telling us they're exactly the same. So get comfortable. We're not going to indulge the ego. It's attacking thoughts, the big argument that it has with the Holy Spirit every day of its life. And the Holy Spirit never argues back because there's nothing to argue with. It's that story I always tell about when the reporter asked Mother Teresa, wasn't she afraid she was going to catch leprosy from the leper babies that she held in her arms every day, and she was holding one in that moment. She gazed at the diseased baby wasting away in her arms, looked back at the reporter and said, "What leper?" So, who are we really? Are we people, individual humans with separate personalities, waging war on each other, using each other? Or are we instruments of God's love, peace, and joy? Are we spiritual beings on a human journey, awakening to the truth? Let's find out in the next 15 minutes. Closing your eyes. Review these thoughts. God gives me only happiness. He has given my function to me. Therefore, my function must be happiness. My happiness and my function are one. God gives only happiness. Unless we try to define God as something He is not. God gives us our function. Our mind has two parts. One is ruled by the ego and is made up of illusions. The other is the home of the Holy Spirit, where truth abides. Which is true? Is your function established by God through His voice, the Holy Spirit? Or is your function given by the ego, which is an illusion and only offers illusory gifts? Review in your mind the many forms illusion has taken under the ego's guidance. Have you found salvation under the ego's guidance? Have you been happy? Have you felt peace, an ongoing, consistent peace of mind? We're asked to practice great honesty today. You get to decide whether you listen to madness or hear the truth. Your happiness and your function are one. coming back. It's different to contemplate within a structured 15-minute practice than it is to discuss whether we want to continue with the illusory gifts of the ego or hear the truth which abides in us all the time. I felt a kind of inner pulsing and pressure starting here and coming up here and above my head. It felt like a big, glistening diamond light with many facets of white light beaming while there was a sort of humming pulsation to it. And I felt a beautiful quiet. Don't be concerned if you feel agitation or restless. I have felt that many times too. It just comes with the territory. It's the purification process. It's releasing the noise and the distractions that the ego will throw up for as long as we'll fall for it. And now we're being taught how not to fall for ego distractions and temptations. Enjoy your practice today. Namaste.